Hey everybody, this is Doc Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade out in Brookfield, Illinois. It's Wednesday, December 9th, 2015, and I am joined here today with by Gamer of the Year Pete Hahn.
Hello. How you doing, everyone?
And our back-to-back tournament winners. You took
Horror scoring,
and
then
Atari
Week. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Atari Week was first, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks for being with us.
Oh, I'm a regular listener and first-time participant. It's exciting.
Awesome. It's we talk quite a bit around the arcade, so it is definitely great to have you here, and looking forward to another interesting podcast.
Yep.
No Jamie here today, so there won't be any fireworks.
Yeah.
He might Skype in or something.
Yeah. Just to throw us for a loop. Maybe we'll have him on in the future again. Maybe we should have dueling banjos.
Oh, there's plenty of more good podcasts.
Yeah.
To come.
Yep.
I'm sure Jamie will be involved.
Cool.
So,
what do you feel like doing first?
Let's start with scores, I guess.
Okay.
It's been yet another big week of good scores going in, and we've got a handful of world records, and most recently you just put up a new Street Fighter 02 Alpha world record last night.
Yep. Yeah. That one, for a fighting game one, was harder than I thought it would be. Like, the difficulty is cranked all the way up, and it's an Asian board set, so like the game is super hard on the hardest difficulty. So there's a couple ways you just have to break the EII and not play him straight up like a normal human, but once you figure that out, then it's not that hard. The controls were a little bit wonky. Once we replaced the cherry switches, I was like, man, this score's tough, but once the cherry switches were replaced, it was obtainable.
Cool. Very cool. You put up 1.3 million?
Yep, 1.326 approximately.
So are you done with the Capcom row?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to move on. I don't know. I said that a while ago, though. When I was Yeah, I said that on the first of the month, and I thought I was going to move on, but I didn't. That Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter score, like, I thought was going to be my last Capcom thing, but now I'm in the other side of the Capcom arcade section, I guess.
Very cool. And I know Seth has been working hard on getting Street Fighter 03 Upper back up and running.
Yeah, I was playing that, just testing it out. You were playing it as well, and we both had great scores going, but then we realized we're not in the right settings.
Right.
Yeah, so.
With the Naomi systems, once you shut them off, like...
Does it wipe?
Well, we had to completely rebuild that Naomi setup, so it was... the settings were just never put in.
Oh, okay.
So, as soon as it's another 2-in-1 with Street Fighter
Alpha 3. Right?
Alpha 3.
Yeah.
So once we have the 2-in-1 setup working properly, we'll get it all set up. And I'm sure we'll both put scores in on that.
For sure.
Hopefully Norbert Vale will be back in to put in some new scores too.
Yep.
Be awesome. Huge shout outs to Seth. That is a monster cabinet to get up and running. It's got a CPS2 and a Naomi with GD-ROM, which Naomi, the system had so many great games, but the hardware is just atrocious to work with, and there's a dozen points of failure on it. So it's
just watching him work on it. Looked like there was like a rat's nest of wires all going every which way, and just to make sense of all that is ridiculous.
When I originally, actually, me and Brandon had originally wired that one, and it was not pretty.
Okay.
It was functional.
Yeah.
And now it's we tore everything out, and we got back to the point where there's still some complications with it, but I know like Seth is just cleaning up, and
cool.
He's still got a few technical difficulties with it, but I'm sure he'll have it knocked out in the next day or so.
Cool.
So what were some of the other scores?
Well, Jeremiah put up a new house high on Smash TV.
Yes.
I know that Rocco held that previously, and it was up for a while, but Jeremiah beat it by just a little bit. He's gonna. I don't know how far he's gonna take that score. He's possibly interested in pushing it, maybe even close to the world record, which is a ridiculous score by Martin Bedard, like near 20 million.
Yeah. That one in part, we've had the ROMs were changed from revision, I believe we changed from Revision 4 to Revision 8.
Mhm.
We had the difficulties, like the guys were supposed to die in the same damage amounts.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, I believe Mutoid Man is actually easier now.
Okay.
Which is standard of what everybody else is putting in. So hopefully Rock will come in and other people will be back in to put up some new good Smash TV scores.
Cool. And then out of nowhere, Seth put up a Bobble score.
Yes.
Our lead tech.
That's my favorite thing. When
yeah.
somebody who's unusual, never seen their name on the list,
Yeah.
comes in and puts the score up.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, I love this game. It's my favorite game from my childhood. And he's like, I'll put up a score. I'm like, okay, let me sign you up for Aurcade. So, yeah, it's kind of cool. So then we have our guest here with a couple new scores here.
720. You're putting up a score in 720.
Well, each of my new scores are part of various projects I got going on right now.
They look like they're in alphabetical order here. You got J, K, oh no, not exactly.
And 7.
And 7, yeah.
Well, Jailbreak, I'll start with that one. Jailbreak, it's a game that I didn't have a score for. So that's part of my project of trying to get a score in every working game that's here.
Cool.
So I don't have that many left.
How many?
Well, I've got like 350 something scores, I think, on Aurcade. So
350. Wow.
Damn.
there's about, I don't know, maybe 50 games that there's no scoring, I would say, at the arcade. Maybe a little more than that. From your list.
Those will have scoring. There's a few that we haven't verified yet, but everything on the floor will eventually have a score. So as you get closer, we'll make sure we'll get those.
Yeah, like, for example, that Combat Tribes, people have been asking about that, and Duke was playing it on stream last week, and there's no score counter in the game, but we're going to do a manually counted score, so just how many people you can kill in one credit from the beginning of the game will probably be the way that one works, but we'll think of something. We'll track something.
Yeah, that'll definitely every playthrough will have to be recorded as.
Same with Battle
we did the first test with you and Jeremiah trying to verify my score, and by the second kill, you guys had lost.
We lost count. Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, it's hard when you bash two guys' heads together. The two guys die at one time. It's hard to keep track.
All right, so 720, that's part of my other project, where I'm going back through Aurcade in all the games that I only have a score that gets 1 token. I'm trying to bump that up. So I'm trying to eliminate all 1 token games. That has a lot of work.
So you want to improve your token average?
But yeah, improve it. But some games that's impossible because the scores are
like Nibbler.
Mm-hmm. There's no way. Yeah.
Well, Nibbler is actually could be possible because there's so many people that have played. I think there's over 100 scores on Nibbler.
There is, yeah. There's a ton of scores, but the top score is like it's a billion. It's the world record.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if there's 100 scores, you need, I guess 2% of the score,
right,
to get to 2 tokens. So, I know that guy played for like 70 hours.
Yeah.
So what's 2% of 70?
Yeah.
It would need to be like an hour long or an hour and a half long game.
Right.
And I imagine Nibbler's, it's one of those games where once you hit like the 20-minute mark, it doesn't get any harder. Right?
Well, yeah. Once you do the first complete loop, I was looking into this a little bit when I was talking to Tim McVeigh in Iowa. He said that basically it's got I think it's 100 levels, but once you get to level 80, it just loops 80 through 100 over and over. Okay. So once you know what to do, you're just repeating the last 20 levels over and over. But then fatigue comes into it obviously after that too.
Yeah. So I mean that's I'd like to improve a lot of my score. I'm not going to play Nibbler for a score, but I'm going to try to improve as many of those 1 token games. So that's what 720. 720 is a tough game. It's I think that game has a very steep learning curve.
It does, absolutely.
So I'm in the learning curve process right now.
That was one so many people asked us to get, and it's definitely a highly collectible game, but definitely not a huge amount of people rushing to put scores in on it.
Yeah, I've noticed
that'll change.
I've noticed people just say, "Oh, I don't think the game's working right." I'm like, I think it is. It's not easy to play.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to correct them and say, "No, you're wrong," but
like
You
a
know.
lot of people don't even know
Yeah.
the like what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So it's just kind of like it is it's the steep learning curve of it. But
Oh, I saw you got a Mission Craft score too.
Oh yeah, that was
been-
courtesy of Doc
The
actually.
shmup recommendation. That's our recommendation to everyone that wants to get into a shmup. It's a good recommendation.
Yeah, that's a good choice because
Yeah.
it's fairly modernish. It's not the hardest game. I mean, almost anybody can pick it up and play.
Mhm.
And it's fast paced. It's not, I definitely would recommend that as for somebody just getting the shmups.
did you finish the first loop?
Yes,
I thought you did.
Yes.
That's awesome.
You did.
I did get to. Yeah, I died right away in the second loop though. It was
But you
silly
did
death.
that. That was your first try in.
No, my first try I died at the.
Oh,
at
your
the-
second try. Your second try.
Yeah,
That's pretty good though. Like first few times playing it, you're able to beat the loop. That's awesome.
yeah. Talent.
Then we have Mr. Tibbets here with his Circus Charlie sigh. We should maybe save that sigh for a podcast.
That's
But it is a new
there's
house high.
a sigh and a head shake going on.
Yeah.
But
So he put up 442K. What were you at before? Like 360 some K?
360. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Which had beaten Sean's like 340
Sean
or
had 330, I think.
330 or 340, something like that.
338.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And we did the math. I've gotten slightly further in the game than Jamie did.
He just racked up more points in that amount of
He
time.
jumped over the
The
piece
hoop?
of fire.
Yeah.
For
The fire hoop.
5 minutes.
All right. We're gonna save that.
I heard rumors he did that for an hour. He
Well,
spent an hour of his time here just jumping over
Same hoop.
the same hoop.
Yeah.
No.
This is another podcast.
That's another podcast.
Yeah. All right. We have Ken Walker, the pinball guy.
Yes. We got here at like 6 o'clock in the morning on Friday. And Ken stopped over and he was helping us with I think we were working on Freddy. Or no, I had just fixed something on Creature. And he jumped in for a game and put up a pretty good score.
Yeah. I was gonna say it looks like a pretty decent score.
Yeah, for sure. 203 million. It's,
All right. We have Peter Gores. I'm sorry. He put up a couple scores. Now he was extremely close to the house high on Buck Rogers. I think James's
I
score.
believe James has that.
Yeah, James is like 95K on that. I want to say for a house high, he's really close to it there. Then he put up a Battlezone score. Those are all I think those are late Saturday night scores because I see scores from him also on the 3rd. I think it was showing on a Saturday. Then we have a new Rampart, which is technically a world record. You said that score wasn't going to last long, the one you had on there, right?
right.
Yeah.
It lasted.
Lasted a week.
Yeah. My score is
Oh.
right there.
Yeah, like 5 days, yeah.
Yeah. I will be willing to bet that his score won't last very long either.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. And I know Peter was also working on Interstellar, and he was very, very close to setting a world record when the machine reset on him,
Oh, yeah.
which is unfortunate. The world record's around 360, 370K, and this is the last score that he has on video that we could verify, so that's what we put in. But hopefully he comes back and gives it another shot soon, because we'd like to see a new world record come out of him for that game.
That one I don't know, and that's one of the big problems with Laserdisc games is as the game gets more intense, like if you get a little more aggressive with the machine, you can actually like move the disc, and not
Right.
saying that's what he did, but
But it can happen, yeah.
Yeah, it can happen. Those Laserdisc games are so touchy.
Seth was saying something about how that Laserdisc player is like Japanese, so it's 100 volts and everything else is not 100 volts. Like, I don't know. He was saying something weird about that particular one.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get it, but
Most of the Laserdisc games, there's so many conversions that happen between the players and the way the video output is handled. It gets complicated quick.
Okay. That's above my skill set.
Um,
Cool.
we do have another Laserdisc game on the way, though,
Okay.
which I'm very excited about.
Ooh, any spoilers?
Yeah,
You wanna
spoilers.
spoilers or hints?
No.
Nice.
There's two
No.
Laserdisc games that I've been chasing for a long time. There's technically 4 that all came out on the Sega CD.
Oh, okay.
All of them were by Renovation Products.
Night Trap.
It was Digital Pictures.
Okay.
That was technically Sega put that out.
Yeah.
I would say there are a lot of very bad Laserdisc games.
Yeah.
As well.
There's a lot of bad Sega CD games.
There's a game called Cliffhanger.
Based on the
Really?
Sylvester Stallone movie?
No.
No.
It's bad.
Lupin. The Cliffhanger is
I don't know what it's based around,
okay.
but I know it's a Stern game, and I like collect Stern games. And I was looking at this, and it was like, this is one that is on the list of Stern games that I am not going to ever get.
We have had so many people ask for that game.
Really?
Yes. Like, that has a
Really?
huge following. I almost picked one up.
Wow.
The price on them is astonishing.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like it's like the game is like an interactive cutscene type thing. It looks like you're watching a movie. Like I was watching a video of it just to see what it was, and so I was watching a video and it was like, it was like a movie was playing. I'm like skipping ahead. I'm like, all right, when does the game start?
Yeah.
And then it's like a 20-minute video, and I'm like, then I went back and I realized that they were playing the game. It was like an interactive. it looks weird. It's
very similar to Dragon's Lair, where it's action reaction.
Yes, yeah, that's the whole game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Time traveler type thing. Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if those do this. I don't know if that would have a lot of replay value because are people playing it more for the story?
Well,
I don't know.
And it's the same thing that made Dragon's Lair popular. Well, those games are so difficult until you've memorized everything to them. Either you're going to get into them or you're not. It's one of those that a lot of people just look at it and there's somebody was playing Dragon's Lair the other day and just trying to play it like an action game.
Okay.
And
You can't really play it straight up. Like,
yeah. They didn't even know if the game was. They didn't know that the
Yeah.
game was actually playing. They're like, "When do I start?" And it's like you have to explain it, and then that's not their type of game, and they walk away from it.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm surprised to hear a lot of people want Cliffhanger.
a lot of people, and it is I know so many hardcore collectors that have it, and so many hardcore collectors that want it.
Wow.
Is it just because it's collectible that people want it? Because there's things that people they want it because they can't have it, or they actually want to play it.
It's based on an anime called
okay.
Lupin the Third that
Okay.
has this. That in itself has its own huge following.
Mhm.
So, or has a following. I don't know how big it is, but it's one of the. I would like to have it, but again, the price has to be right. But the game that we are getting is similar to that.
Okay.
But not.
That's a good hint.
It is a Dragon's Lair style Laserdisc game.
Okay. Cool. Where did we leave off here? Oh, Pete Gore's also put up a Gradius 3 score.
Yeah.
How do you really feel about that game?
Yeah. That's that second the bubbles. The
Yeah, I
bubble
know.
levels. You gotta.
The game lags out. It's so.
Yeah. And you get like arthritis playing that game.
Yep. Tell me about it. Let's see. And then going back to the first, so we're almost back. The last podcast went on the 30th, I want to say. So these are all new scores then.
You had another world record on Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter.
Yeah, Aaron Ozens had that one before. He had a little over 1.6 million.
You put up 1.8.
Yeah, 1.8 on that
Very
one.
nice.
Yeah,
And there was also a 1cc, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah. I think all these fighting game ones. I think almost all of them, except for my Vampire Savior 2 one. I think they were all 1cc's.
Very cool.
Yep. And then Duke had an increase on his Defender.
Wow.
It's not a house high. That's just a personal best, but I know he's really happy with that score.
Yeah. Shout outs to Duke.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good score.
Yep. And then we're back to you. This is last Monday.
More scores.
More scores from you.
King of Fighters 94.
That's part of the Operation
Get every...
one token. No, I've played all the King of Fighters, but
you just want to raise the token count on that one?
yeah.
Okay.
You've got the record on that one.
On 94, I do. Yeah.
I always wondered why you never continued. Is that next on the
I don't
journey?
know. Maybe I want to get back to these games that take just a little. I don't know. Like I really want to get into Crime City. That game just is a game that I've been looking forward to, and I haven't had the time to really get into it, but I want to. I think that's my next project. That one is going to take longer than a fighting game, though.
Yeah.
That game's kind of brutally difficult. It's like one shot, you're dead type game. You can get punched a couple times, but it's like Rolling Thunder, you know. What else do we have here? You had
Speaking of Rolling Thunder, you put up a Thunder Jaws score.
Yeah.
So Thunder Jaws, and there's another one here, in Karnov. That was earlier.
That
I
was
put
okay.
those. That's part of another project I have called Operation Quigley.
Operation Quigley.
Yeah, well, Quigley and I, we got a bit of a rivalry going. Well, I wouldn't call it a rivalry, because the other person has to win once in a while for it to be a rivalry. Well, I went through all of the scores that both of us have put up, and there's like 20 games that he has higher scores than me in.
Okay.
And I'm trying to reduce that from 20 to 0.
So you're trying to go through and
my end
prove your
goal
dominance.
is to go up to Sean and be like, Sean, I'm better than you at every single game in this arcade.
Oh my god! So you got to beat his house higher than Choplifter, don't you?
There's a few. He's got a few really good scores, though.
Yeah.
Choplifter. I think Choplifter. That one might never get.
Yeah, it's a pretty good score.
I got to put a lot of time into that.
Yeah.
And he's got a handful of good scores.
Yeah, his Indiana Jones score is pretty decent too.
Yes. Yeah. I thought I had a decent score in that one, but I think I had the high on Indiana Jones during Atari Week. But his personal best is better.
Yeah, he had that one not during the tournament, but at a different time.
Yeah, that's a very good score.
Mm-hmm.
And there's games that there's much higher scores than his, but like a game like Congo Bongo. I don't know if I know you've played, but
played a little bit, messed with it.
That's a hard game.
It is.
That's like almost like 720.
You need to be shown. I think that's a game where it really helps to watch someone play it.
Okay.
It's just getting used to the way that it moves is like once you get the angle thing, it's like, oh, okay, I get this.
But Quigley, he's got a few other good ones. I'm taking down the low hanging fruit of Quigley.
Does he know you're doing this?
Oh yeah.
He'll know now. I'm sure he listens.
Yeah,
I think he listens to us.
Yeah.
Is he trying to go after your scores? Do you know?
Well, I took his Circus Charlie.
Yeah,
and then I know he was back playing it.
He was messing around with it that Saturday night. I want to say he was back playing, which he didn't take the score back, but he's like, I'll work on it some, but he didn't go for it. So,
well, hopefully,
maybe he can beat Jamie's score.
I wouldn't even mind if he took my score.
If he took Jamie's
If he took Jamie's, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
you want to see Jamie's score go down that bad?
Yeah, not even his score. I just want to see him go down. Yeah.
Speaking of Jamie, we have King of the Monsters. Oh, 2. That's part 2.
2, yeah.
Yeah. This was the night after the podcast where he was on, I believe.
That was the day of the podcast.
That was the day of? Oh, okay. I don't know if he said that before or after the podcast. But he had 2 scores, 19XX and King of the Monsters 2, which are both world records. So I know he has a lot of familiarity with 19XX, just doing his recent Schmuppin episode on it, so I'm expecting that score to probably even get any better if he decides to try to press it.
I think he plays it every time he comes in for a few games. So I think he has 7 million. I think he said.
Oh, okay.
So he just needs to replicate that in the arcade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then finally, I think we might have covered these already, but you had 2 scary games.
That's both. Those are part of Operation Quigley.
Those are Quigley Quigley Operation games. Okay.
Yeah.
Versus Castlevania and Haunted Castle. Okay.
Haunted Castle's a terrible game. Well, that's a really hard game. I should say.
It's very hard.
It's unforgiving. Yeah.
That is one I've had so many people dislike it just because of the difficulty.
Most people won't get past the first 20 seconds because there's only one guy. No.
That is definitely one. If you are shown a few things, you'll walk through 80% of the game.
Yeah, like watching Pete Goris play it, you'll get so much better just by his world record's on YouTube.
Have you played the game?
A little bit,
You
yeah.
know, like halfway through level 1, there's those blocks that move across the screen.
Yeah.
So
It's like,
I was stuck on that for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to jump over them and like time the jumps and time, and I just kept dying. And you get hit twice and you're dead.
Yep.
And it's game over.
One life, yeah.
I didn't realize until after the fact you can hit
Just whip them.
Yeah.
So
It's like, yeah, why didn't I do that?
yeah, yeah. So yeah, you do have to be shown things like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it helps.
Like, that's the whole game. Is like when we first got that, I put quite a bit of time on that, and it's hard. But once you get it mapped out, it's like same thing. It's like, oh, okay, it's not that bad once you know exactly where to stand and the timing and
The knowledge, as you would say.
It is all about the knowledge.
All right.
It's not terrible. Let me take that. back. It was a bit frustrating.
You can have your opinion. Whatever.
No.
you want
It was
to
not
be.
a terrible game.
Okay.
Just very hard.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So should we move on to the Facebook part?
Some questions?
We had a suggestion from Charles Leonard Metz. I'll just read his post. Suggestion for next podcast: breaking down and informing patrons about the rules for setting a record / house high, or even in general just personal best, and having it verified. And he says, as someone who has had a world record set at the arcade, the process is very clear to him, but I've also been wanting to collect tokens on Aurcade, and honestly I don't know where to begin, especially when I step in on a busy night. I hear a lot of perplexed patrons when I visit and think some good signage or something might be very helpful near the entrance. So one of the main reasons I wanted to have you on is you're all about scoring, like, and you go to Underground Retrocade also, and I know you're big into the scoring scene there as well. So when you walk into like here Retrocade, how do you go about telling people like this is how we do scoring? Like, what would you say to them?
Well, speaking about, I'll talk about the Retrocade first.
Okay.
One of the things I've been working with Scott on, like, we had this idea where we were gonna like put 2 or 3 of these around the arcade, like big signs that have like 1, 2, 3, 4 steps.
Mm-hmm.
What you need to do if you want to submit a score, and just put that one right at the entrance, and then 1, 2, 3 throughout the arcade. That shows the basic steps.
Like a scavenger hunt. You go to this, to this, to this.
No, not like that. just like the rules.
Oh, okay.
So people, it's just like the Ghost that got the cards at the top that show, the high score. Or here it has the world record
and the house high.
The house high.
Yeah.
I do the cards at the Retrocade, and we changed it a few months ago, where it shows the top 10 local scores. It doesn't have any of the world record or anything, because the reason we decided to show more than one and go all the way to 10
Mm-hmm.
is, especially like if you get a new person that walks into the arcade, they might see a score and it's unattainable to them.
That's discouraging, yeah, for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, most people will play just to play, but
Yeah.
The goal is to try to get people into scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can see, that 10th place score is reachable, then why not? Go for it. And
Mm-hmm.
A good example. This happened just last week. There's one of the regulars at the Retrocade, a guy named Mark Anderson. I believe he's a teacher, and he had the 10th place score on Fix It Felix Jr. They got that game, and one of his students or former students had come in and saw his name.
Oh no!
And knew about it. And she played the game and took his 10th place score and knocked him off the card.
Revenge.
And then he
I'll get
came
you.
back 2 days later and put up a score.
He
And
got
now
his
he's
10th place, or is he higher?
He's at the 9th place now.
Oh, okay.
So now he's safe from being knocked off the card.
Okay.
But
I
it's
like
weird.
that. I like that.
It's
Yeah.
got this like a rivalry of people, shooting for just the it's like a personal rivalry.
So, are you printing these cards, or is it something that's handwritten, or like dry erase, or how are you like printing them on a like laser printer, or?
Yeah, I print them.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a
So,
very
like every time
inefficient
someone
process.
puts up a new score, you gotta get in there and make up a new card for just every 10 places on the card. You said are shown.
Yeah, it's like a grid. It's like
Oh,
a
okay.
big grid that
Okay,
just
cool.
has them. So I print a card every time there's a change in the standings, basically.
Okay, cool.
So
And you say you don't show the world records to try to discourage people from being.
yeah, we got into a debate of what should or shouldn't be on the card.
Mhm.
Scott had some cool cards before where he had the big, it would show a big picture of the person,
Mhm.
and it would show the world record, and I mean they were nice. when I made my suggestion to him, I was saying that the records it's a local thing. It's like, who cares what somebody put up a score 30 years ago? I mean, it's nice for some people to know, but I think the people that care about like world records and stuff are like already the hardcore people.
For
that
sure.
would be willing to go out of their way a little to do a little bit of digging and find that
They would look it
information.
up, yeah, for sure.
The goal with the cards is to get new people involved that normally that might have no idea what scoring is, or, and so I didn't think it was when you have 10 names on a card, you sort of have limited space too,
Right.
And we don't put things in tiny fonts or anything, and so. That was a sacrifice. We're like, I didn't think it was important.
Cool.
He still wants it on there, but I told Scott, if you want it on there, do your own cards.
Oh.
But, no, it's working good.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds like you can get a lot more people like just into it from the get-go without being discouraged by this massive number, of just the top score. So that's good.
And there's a few of the regulars there. They have a similar goal like what I have here, where they're trying to put up a score on every game. Like one of the regulars, Rahil, he's trying to get his name on every card.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's a cool
awesome.
goal. Yeah.
So,
That's actually really cool, and I do see it. I would assume it's working well, like getting more people into using Aurcade. And
yeah, I would say so.
it's awesome.
Cool.
It's
Now,
awesome.
are you doing the Aurcade? Are you referring them to Scott to sign up for Aurcade, or are you having them set up their own accounts?
When they go to submit a score, they have to sign up then.
Then Scott will put them in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the issues currently with Aurcade is, I believe the registration process is currently broken.
I think it is, yeah.
Oh.
If you sign up for your own account, like you have to tell a moderator to fix your account, basically to check marks the box that says like active or whatever. There's a box enabled. Yeah, you have to have someone check that and then put in a temporary password for you, or else you're not going to be able to log in.
Yeah, it's supposed to send a confirmation email, and that never gets sent. So a lot of times what will happen is people will just keep trying to recreate accounts, and they're all being entered into the system, but
There's no way to get rid of them once you put them in there.
there is.
Well, I don't know how to do it.
You can. There's an admin feature of merging accounts and stuff, but then it just becomes more complicated. So definitely, if you'd like to sign up for Aurcade, you can contact any one of us. Currently, we've upped the number of referees and admins that we have here at the arcade. So currently, it's
Jeremiah,
yourself, you and me.
Yep.
Jeremiah,
John.
John Haruza, Mike McCarthy,
and then Eddie.
and Eddie Perez are all and Anthony Paparo
Yep.
when he's around.
Yep. So yeah, if you see any of them, they'll set you up with an account.
Yep.
It's totally free. Don't let them charge you. That's just for their pockets.
And you don't, when you don't need to set a record or anything to get.
Yeah, people don't realize that. I don't think. Like, if
Yeah.
you just want to put up a score, like just so you can mark your progress. Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't use it that way, but I think it's good to let them know that they can, because that's a good way to measure yourself.
I think it's created a bit of a ripple effect too, where like there are so many of the regulars that check Aurcade. Aurcade is my homepage on my phone, so every time I use the internet on my phone,
The recent scores come up.
yeah, it's the first thing I see,
Yeah.
and
It's
I
awesome.
do that on purpose because I want to see it.
Yeah.
And like and lately, every time somebody puts up a score or something, there's like discussion about it in the productions,
Yeah.
the group.
Right.
Stephen Lucas is always talking. Jamie's always talking. Myself.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's created a ripple effect where sometimes somebody will put up a score, and then like you notice there's 2-3 scores of that same game then in the next week or two. So
Yes, I've noticed that too. It was the big Russian attack.
yeah,
That just happened because one of us started playing Russian attack. I don't know who was patient number 0 on that one, but someone started Russian attack and we all jumped on it. But I think that's totally true.
and I think King of the Monsters was another one.
Yeah.
So
Stephen Lucas coming in playing that. And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah, he rippled through everyone and everyone got on that. Yeah.
so that's exciting to see because
Yeah.
it's creating these like mini tournaments almost.
Mhm.
And,
well,
yeah, none of these are not. Well, in some cases they were. Russian attack was the world record.
Yeah.
And King of the Monsters, but I mean it doesn't need to be.
Right. It could just be whatever you feel like putting up that day. Like I know some people are just afraid. They're like, "Oh, my score is not that good compared to everyone." It's like, well, it's like whatever you have time to do, you just put that up so you know where you're starting next time. This is what now you don't have to like remember. Oh, how did I do? Now you know. You can always look in Aurcade. It's not something to be embarrassed about. Like you can just put it in.
No, yeah. Don't be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Look at my scores, and
Yeah.
you'll see.
I think every one of us here have 1 token scores. I have plenty of them.
I
Trust
got about
me.
100 of them.
Yeah, I have plenty of them.
Built off that, what we're kind of looking forward to do, and I haven't even announced this on Facebook yet, but on Mondays, we're going to be starting to put up a new game every Monday night. And we're not going to say what it is, and we're never going to give anybody any heads up. So there's going to be a lot of games going up on the floor where you can come in on Monday night and be the first to put up a score. And you know, some of these games haven't had anybody ever put in a score, so like the first score may be the world record.
Mm-hmm.
But because nobody's going to know what game it is, everybody that comes in, like,
Equal footing.
it's very equal footing.
Yeah.
So Monday night will become a hopefully very good time to.
It's already a good time to come in.
Absolutely.
A lot of
like,
regulars come in.
I'm here every Monday.
Yeah.
That's reason enough to come in.
I know Jamie's here. Jeremiah likes to hang around.
Yeah.
So that's good. I try to make it out. I haven't been good the last couple of weeks, but I tend to make it out Monday nights too. So
Yeah. Been trying to stay later myself, but sometimes that proves to be difficult. But yeah, it's Monday night is going to become even better.
cool.
So this Monday, though,
You're gonna have something new.
there is.
Cliffhanger?
I can't say. Maybe
It's a
it is.
cliffhanger.
It is a cliffhanger. It in
Ooh,
itself
that's
is
Every
a
week it's a
cliffhanger.
cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Jamie questioning whether I can put up a game every week.
I think it's just a matter of space. I'm
well,
sure you could do it.
I was doing the math myself. When the Ghost first opened,
130.
130. And we are 5 years and 3 months in.
We are 481.
So, I mean, you've put over 300 games.
Yeah.
The first 2 years, it was 100 games each year.
Okay.
And this last year, it's been killing me. They've been going up so sporadically.
Yeah.
When the expansion went up, there was
The jump.
13 games in a week.
Yeah.
So that was.
Well,
But
right now, if you have a theoretical infinite amount of space,
There'd be an infinite amount of games.
They would
No.
well, the
No.
Mondays would
Yeah.
last for years.
Yeah.
The problem is I have to see if I can control myself if I have space. Just
You're-
putting up one.
Yeah.
you're going to want to put up 15 or something.
Yeah.
This Monday I have two
Oh.
that I could already put
Save
up.
it till next week.
Yeah.
Save it.
Space it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be more fun.
Otherwise, one game might get left behind, or
Then you can't do a tournament on it if you put 2 up.
yeah.
Can you?
I would suggest keeping it.
Just one?
Yeah.
For a while. The problem is going to be when the wall comes down.
Yeah. When the walls come.
When the walls come down.
It sounds like the Great Wall of China's coming down here.
the Def Leppard song. Isn't it?
Yeah.
When the
the
walls come tumbling down.
some of the game, it's kind of going to be like how it was when we first opened, where there's going to be, we need to put these games somewhere.
Right.
You wouldn't know what game is going to be exactly going up next, but you're going to have some idea of what we have. We need to create some space in the vaults.
Yeah. Make the vault playable. So you can
Yeah.
walk into it.
Yeah. It's getting crowded in there.
I saw them wheeling something out yesterday or
Out?
today, or into the vaults.
We had to move some stuff to the vaults because
Or is that supposed to be a
construction
secret?
is
Okay.
starting.
Okay.
So
I
some
let it
games
slip.
had to leave the back room area
Okay.
out of the preparation area because we are losing that area.
Okay.
And even during this podcast, I've already missed a call from the landlord about the construction day.
Okay.
And the electricians were here earlier today.
Cool.
So good progress on the next step.
Very cool. What do you think about signage? Like saying, see, signage is both good and bad. I think signage in an idea is good, but like we have so many signs that say no gum, and people come in with gum anyway. You know.
Right.
I think it's more like we could have signage, but I think it's more powerful to hear it from like people. Like hey, if you think you can get a score, you got to be 1 credit. You got to be making sure it's from the beginning of the game, and then we'll put it up for you. But,
like the cards do a great thing of you, and it's usually with the people that are continuing. They play a game, they'll put 50 credits into Thunderblade or Terminator 2 or Simpsons or Turtles and come up and be like,
I got the score.
I got the score.
Yeah.
And then really the conversation has to happen. It has to be, well, this is how scoring works. And the downside to it is they've already been kind of deterred.
Yeah, I see their face drop a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's just 1 credit just from the beginning. After I've just played it for 3 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
The one, and so many of, and I agree that, like the high scoreboard, people that look at that, like the 42-inch screens that we have with all the scores flipping through, people are looking at that, and it would be great to have a information page of, hey, sign up for Aurcade.
That'd be awesome. As part of the scoreboard flip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that would be the place to have the signage as well.
Yeah.
We have the IR card reader, which also needs to be fixed. It's working properly on our end, but Aurcade needs to do something to make it work smoothly.
Okay.
But I've been talking a lot with David Hernley, and I know both of us have put in a lot of requests for.
There's some good suggestions that people have had. That people have told me, and I've kind of relayed on. I've had maybe one good suggestion to them, but the house highs being tracked on Aurcade, I think is something that'd be really beneficial, like showing like a little brick house or something next to a score if it's a house high. Because like world record, for some games it's like, yeah, no one's gonna get the defender world record here. Sorry, but possibly house high. You could see what it is. It'd be easy to just call it out with a little brick house next to it or something.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, and the 1 credit clear one also.
Yeah, that data is being tracked.
Right. Yeah.
There's all sorts of behind the scenes data that is being tracked. One of the big things that's of interest to me is always the out of the box scores.
Mm-hmm.
When you put in a new score, it does not completely get rid of all of your previous data.
Right.
It, in theory, and this was from David Hernley's vision of it, was that you can track the progress of the players. So it is so beneficial to put in multiple scores. Like if you wanted to give every score to see how you were progressing, even if it's like 5-10 scores for the same game throughout the day, that data would be tracked. And it's not infinitely, like it's interesting data.
Mm-hmm.
And a good way to track how and if you're getting better.
Yeah.
We had looked at, I had pulled, back when Splatterhouse was the big talk, I had Hernley send me every score that had been set on it.
Okay.
And there's some really telling times. Like you can see where there's these huge jumps in scores, and
where the back and forth happened right away.
Absolutely. So, cool. But yeah, it's again, I guess one of the biggest things is getting people to get into scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And like we've had so many success stories, like Brian Keita,
Yep.
Nick Young, George Gaynor. Like that was still one of the most interesting ways to get people into scoring.
That's kind of what these Monday things sound like they're going to do.
That is the goal. That is the goal. Like those 3 guys were coming in often, and were really making a lot of effort to have that score. Mm-hmm. And it was so much fun to watch it, and I know they had a lot of fun. So hopefully there'll be that'll happen again in new games.
Cool. So beyond all that, beyond just like talking to people, do you think there's anything that like we can tell people to, like, hey, when before you leave, tell me your score that you did the best on, what game you did the best on? Like what can we do to encourage people besides telling them about Aurcade? Is there anything as us the arcade can do?
Well, I think and this is another element that we're trying to have it automated through Aurcade, where it will set up a weekly tournament where just there's a new there's so much players that are already entrenched in scoring are already playing stuff, but there's going to be a per arcade tournament of the week that you can enable, and then I'll just pick a game for you, and that tournament will last just 7 days, and whoever puts in a score, they win. And we're probably going to put some sort of prize behind it every week. Nothing huge, obviously, but and even in doing that, it's another way to get people to try these games that they haven't played very much. It'll eventually pick a game, if it had happened to pick Rampart, everybody would have found out that score is obtainable,
right?
And hopefully it'll just get more people into it, so.
Cool. There was one other thing. You know what? I forgot what I was going to bring up, so I'm going to keep going down the list here. So we have a couple smaller side topics from Facebook. Tim Vermeulen is asking about a suggestion. He said that he witnessed a young kid start a 4-player pinball game, then abandon the game after the first ball. So what his suggestion was is charging 25 cents per credit, and the proceeds going to the fundraiser. I know that originally you were against that idea, but do you want to say anything about that, or what we're doing to combat that?
Basically, being a free play arcade, to put a monetary value where people have to put money in certain machines and not in others. Well, it would be good for the fundraiser because pinball gets played a ton. I just worry about. It's kind of like when machines don't work. People tend to be rougher on machines that are down, and if a machine just appears to be working, and they just don't know that it needs money to run, they're not going to put the money in, and the concern would be, would they try to shake the machine?
Manhandle it, yeah.
So, and also there are issues within the city about charging per machine, that.
Right. You need a special permit to do that.
Yeah.
Per game.
Per machine. Yes. Yeah. So we definitely want to stay away from that. What it kind of occurred to us when me and Ken were working on Freddy. That one was down because it for some reason will not go into free play mode, and there's some issue on the board. So what the solution was just to put a free play button on it that works as a credit button, and we did that maybe a week ago, and pretty much every time I've checked it, there'll be all 7 other machines will be running except for Freddy, and that's the only one that has that button on it. So this morning I got here early and fixed not only the right flipper on Creature, but then I also put in a free play button. And
just took it out of free play mode.
It out of free play mode. You can do. I dropped the credits down to where you can only have 5.
Oh, that's good.
So it should work much better. The problem with, you want kids to play pinball. I had never wasn't off abandoning games or anything. You want them to at least try it, and for every 10 that walk away and leave all 4 players credited up, you're going to get one that is wow, pinball's really cool. And to me, that's worth it. It perpetuates the whole thing. So I agree it's an inconvenience, and people can always come up front, let us know. We'll go right back and we'll instantly clear everything out and get you set up and running. But we do want to still make it accessible even for kids and everybody.
Okay. Cool. Charles Metz was saying how it keeps the casual player away, which is true. People aren't going to try out a game they're not familiar with if they have to, put a quarter in there.
Tim also mentioned that we haven't increased our prices since we opened.
Which is true.
It is. I literally, a week does not go by where somebody hasn't told me that, why is this not $20? Why isn't, like, this should be more? And I don't know, it just seems like a good price point. Like, when people first started coming, it was 130 games for $15, and now it's 481 games for $15. Definitely the rent is going up as the expansions happen, and that's why, like, there's so many people that have, again, generously donated to our fundraiser, and like you did your whole
Zelda stream
for it, and you raised raised a great amount of money for us, and then matched it, and that was so appreciated to help us progress the fundraiser. And you really helped us grow so much, and we really appreciate that. So
I'm glad to what it's become, and what it's going to become.
Well, we do. We just want to make it bigger and better. I think people would pay if we raised it to 20. I know Scott had raised his price.
He was his was 10, I think.
He was 10, and he moved up. And
it's
give and take, because you gotta sell more at the lower price points, but you can sell more because of your lower price. So
yeah,
I'm sure there's people that come in that they don't know the model, and then they realize it's 15 and then leave. I'm sure that happens.
Pretty infrequent. Like, it's not that it's never happened, but
you're like a family of like 5 coming in, and
this happened, yeah.
And then they realize that that's a $75 investment to step into the arcade.
Right, yeah. Sometimes they're like, oh, we just wanted to put a 20 in and get quarters. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't do that here.
Yeah.
You know, I try to explain it to them. I'm like, well, if you get an afternoon in a couple hours, you could really make this worth it. But yeah, it does happen, though.
That happens at the Retrocade once in a while, because it's on the main street, so they get a lot of foot traffic. People come from like the barber shop next door. I almost like feel bad for those customers. So it's like they come in with like 3 kids, and like, you know, what are you supposed to do? Because you can't make an exception. You can't, but you know, the $15 I think is the right price.
Yeah, cool.
I don't know if it would deter that many people if it went up a little bit, but I think that's fair.
Yeah, it'd still be fair. Just we'd have to do. We might lose some business, but gain the extra money back from the extra $5. So.
Well, we're trying our best to keep it where it's at.
Cool,
but we'll see.
So the next question was asked by Stephen Lucas, but it was kind of answered in the topic itself. He was just asking if people could give him the Ultimate Arcaders Chicago's touring list, and I think pretty much people got them all already. You know, they've got Underground Retrocade, they've got us, they've got Logan's Hardware, Logan's Arcade. There's Level 257, and then there's a few more stops in there like GameWorks and Dave & Buster's.
I say there's 3 types of places.
Yeah.
There's bars that are bars first, and I think arcade second.
Like Brixie's, right? Would Brixie's be in that
era?
area?
I wouldn't even include. I don't even know how many arcades they have in there.
Oh, they got like 10.
Oh.
No.
They have like 4 pins and like 6 games.
Okay.
Really? I was here a few months ago. Once. I've been there once.
Okay.
I will not lie. I'm not a drinker, so.
I'm thinking more of like Logan.
Yeah.
Or like Emporium or Headquarters, where they've got 40, 50, 60 games or whatever. But it's a bar.
Yeah.
Nobody's going there. I mean, maybe a few people go there to play games, but you're going there to drink. It's a bar first.
Right.
So it's hard. Like, that's its own category, I think. That doesn't, Then there's the big, almost like chain arcades, almost like Dave & Buster's,
GameWorks.
Yeah.
Those are still like more restaurant bar. They're kind of like this like all in one kind of thing. But I remember I was at GameWorks, and I literally walked the floor saying, how many games at this GameWorks are at the Galloping Ghost? I came across 1.
Yeah.
One. There was a Miss Pac-Man and Galaga combo game. Okay. That was it.
Yeah, they have a lot of newer stuff, like big footprint stuff, like attraction type stuff, right?
Yeah, well, the one in
the Schaumburg
one?
Yeah.
The first floor is almost exclusively racing games and ticket games.
Right.
So there's not that, no overlap with tickets, and only a few racing games here. The second floor is they've got all the dance games, They've got all these gigantic shooting. They got like a Terminator Salvation. That's
Aliens,
like those giant things.
Yeah.
Which are fun to play. They're like I almost view those as like movie theater games.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different world, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that is much different than the bars, and then are much different than a place like this.
Yeah, I think us and Retrocade it's focused solely on the game. So if you want just the two best just for games, I would say these are the two.
Even Retrocade is very, very heavy older stuff too.
More 80s.
The Ghost has more of a mixture of old stuff and a lot more 90s and newer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Scott has a lot of early 80s stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that's not anywhere either too. So, but I think so. It depends on what person you are. So
For sure.
Stephen Lucas has been here a lot, so.
Yeah, you might want to check out, Logan. I was at Logan Arcade just this last weekend. They had a Sky Cursor launch event.
Yes.
So I went Saturday night, and it was a lot of fun. I checked it out. I'm not a big drinker, but my wife got a drink, and I played a little Sky Cursor, and it was fun.
What'd you think? You liked it?
I do like it a lot. Yeah, I'll definitely be trying to play it. Their version had 3 levels in it, so he said our version when we get it. I was talking to the guy that was working. He said our version might have more levels in it when we get ours.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah,
we're super excited for that. Huge shout outs to the Sky Cursor team.
Yeah,
very excited to get that here. I'm trying to pick exactly what cabinet it's going in, and we definitely want to go all out for that once it is here.
For sure. Yeah, it was great. Also having Zespi, who he was here last week.
Yeah, they
shout outs to him.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely really fun chatting with him and talking about talking shop with him.
Yep. So I think if I would recommend him. He seems like he's really serious about taking care of his machines.
Absolutely.
He's got a good amount of pinballs. He's got probably 25 pins in his machine in his place, and not quite as. He's got maybe 30 video games, 25, 30 video games, but he keeps them all in really nice shape. So I was pretty impressed.
I would suggest if you're a fan of the Ghost and you want to check out one of the barcades, don't go on a Friday night or a Saturday night.
For sure.
Because then it's a pure bar.
It's a bar.
Yeah.
There's a DJ playing. Yeah. I went to Emporium after Logan, and there was it was a bar.
It's a weird environment if you're not into that scene.
Yeah.
Go on a Thursday at 5 p.m. or something.
For sure.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that. Yeah. Cool.
Another arcade night on that was Star Worlds.
Yep.
That's another one.
I haven't been there yet.
They're on the NIU campus, but
I
live
like 40 minutes from there, so I gotta eventually make a trip out there.
Cool. So yeah, that's all for Facebook questions. So another thing I was going to ask you, since we have you on the podcast, I know you're big. You were at least in the past big on the tokens. You were. It seemed like for a while just going on to try to get the highest token count, but it seems like you're trying to increase your average now.
I like the tokens.
Yeah.
I like the system.
Yeah.
I think it can be tweaked a little bit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that it changed. I think 2 years ago or a year and a half ago or whatever. Before the high, if only 2 people had played the game, I think at one point the person who has the higher score had 2 tokens.
Yeah.
Now it has a base of 10.
Right.
So no matter what it is, every game is worth 10.
Right.
But then you get games that have been in multiple Fun Spot tournaments or something, and there's I think Wacko, there's 190 people that have whoever
yes.
So
yeah, Mike has that for a ridiculous token average now.
Yeah.
So
doesn't he has Cosmic? How many are in Cosmic Cruise?
A lot. His average is still over 100.
His average is over.
His average is over 100. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean you could play pole position, Wacko, and track and field, and put mediocre scores up, and play 10 games and get 500 tokens.
Yeah. For sure.
In one night, in 1 hour. So it's not the most balanced system to an extent, but it's with a little bit of tweaking. I think a lot of people would be interested.
He's got 2 scores up for an average of 96.
That's crazy.
It's a good average, yeah.
I haven't ever gone for the quantity of the highest total, really. I'm just trying to play all the games.
Okay.
and incrementally increase the scores.
Okay.
Like I don't even have a score in track and field, and that's
a huge token game.
Yeah.
So you don't care, like when you're trying to pick your next target, you don't care how many tokens are on it. You just want to play what's fun for you.
No,
or?
it's not.
Okay.
I just play anything really.
Okay.
I haven't targeted large quantity token games.
Okay.
Yet.
I think as people are reaching their milestones of 1,000 tokens, 2,000 tokens, they really start looking into that.
Right.
And I think you were...
I kind of looked at that for Russian Attack, but I'm like, I like this game
That's
anyway.
another one.
That was a huge amount of tokens for that game. Like
Yeah.
I got like 150 or something for that game.
And that's a whole nother thing that we've been trying to get implemented is a token leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also compare. We're trying to get it so you can compare tokens against like player versus player. So you and Sean could
I've already
line up.
You got your own spreadsheet lined up already?
Yeah, it's called Operation Takedown Quigley. One of the token things that it always bothered me a little bit. So it doesn't matter your rank; it's purely score based.
Right. And
there are a lot of games. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but there are a few games that give like outrageous awards for completing the game.
Right.
1942 is a good example.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's all the scores between basically 0 and 1.5 million, because that's if you haven't beaten the game, you're in that range.
Yeah.
And then you beat the game, you get 10 million points.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
Super Contra is the exact same way.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 10 million when you beat the game, but everything else is like 600,000, like up until then.
Same thing.
So, yeah.
So you have to beat the game to get the big
10 million.
tokens.
Yeah.
So that, you know.
I mean, it's an incentive to 1cc it, I guess, but it's not really balanced.
And going back to like Nibbler too, that's a different scenario. But if there's a score that's so outrageous, nobody's getting tokens. You know.
Right.
But
it depends, I guess, what your motivation is. If you want to just raise your average token per game, then there's games we can point you in the right direction for those. So, yeah.
Even the tokens and everything, there's a lot of refinement going on with Aurcade. So hopefully it'll continue to get better, and they'll keep upgrading the system. And hopefully they'll start doing more soon.
I like 6 months ago or so they added where it has your breakdown by location now.
Yes.
So
yeah.
There's a lot of people that have like Fun Spot, Galloping Ghost, you know.
Retrocade, yeah. They added that was an addition. I think it was done at the same time where it shows your number of world records you have under your name, which I thought was cool. And then Hurley implemented the token average. Has that always been in there, or was that a recent addition?
No, that was one that. There's a lot of like the world record counter was one thing that I knew a lot of people here would appreciate, so we put in that request. And even like separating the different venues, it was because some of our players have been able to travel to Fun Spot, and we just wanted to like for the players that hadn't, they started like, how can I ever catch up? And you just kind of give them a different number to look at to kind of put everything in perspective.
Right, it's like baseball players. You're playing someone that's in their rookie year versus someone who's been playing for a long time. It's really hard to compare.
Yeah.
Like you can compare raw numbers, or you can compare your batting average.
With the token average, with Fun Spot, because when they had like 120 people or whatever in their turn, I don't know how many people they had, but like every game the top score is over 100 tokens.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they've got a catalog of 20 games or whatever for every year. So there's a lot of games like they still have a handful of games that are only there, I think, that have been in tournaments that if you don't go to that tournament or you don't go out there because you can't
play,
you don't have a referee there regularly,
right?
You can never get those tokens.
Right.
They're off limits.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. That part seems unbalanced. You're right.
But eventually, when they're all at the Galloping Ghost, it won't matter. We had our 6,000th game.
6,000.
Oh man.
Third floor.
We're going to the 6th floor.
So is there any final advice you have for people trying to get into scoring? Anything that we can give them? Any advice you would like to give to them?
It's almost like, I don't do drugs, but I imagine Aurcade, if it was a drug, would be like cocaine.
I thought
Aurcade.
It's like an addiction.
Like you have to see where you are logging into the site.
It's the homepage of my
your phone.
I check it every day, and it seems like a bunch of people do.
I thought you were going to go a totally different direction with that. I thought You're talking about drugs. I thought this was gonna segue
William S.
into
Sessions.
a MAME topic for a second.
Oh, okay.
no,
We'll do
no.
that one later. We'll do that one later. We can revisit that.
No, it's an addiction, really. Like,
Score chasing can be addicting. I
Now,
agree.
I know a lot of the regulars or former, like, they've got into it, and then the tokens or Aurcade in general, it subsided, and then they get back into it. But the thing is, it's an archive, so you can always, jump back in. It's online, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think if it wasn't for the scoring in Aurcade, I don't think I'd be as involved with the arcade as I am. I say that for sure.
Cool.
Is there a game that, like, do you remember the game you put your first score in?
I think it was 1942.
Was it?
Yeah, at one point I was trying to create the Mases row. So I had 42, I had 43, 1943. I had Tiger Heli, I had Sky Shark,
Did you have the Twin Cobra?
Truxton, I had Twin Cobra.
That's right, yeah.
I had like 6 in a row.
Weren't you
That
and
was the back
Rocco,
Uh,
Rocco going back and forth and stuff?
we were on 1942. And then he gave up because he said the game is too long, which it is. But then you moved games around, and then like Dodon Patchy got thrown right in the middle, and so it broke up the Mases row.
With a Walters game, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, then I got Dragon Saber and Spirit, but that was after we moved. Yeah. But I was going for the row.
Cool.
I remember I was talking to Matt Walters one time, and we were talking about, I guess, Dodon Patchy was in the middle of the Mases row. And he's like, I'm not going for the row. I'm going for the whole room.
It's bold, but I like
it is
it.
bold.
Yeah. No, but I love it. I love it.
Is there a score that you're looking for right now? Aside from anything that is owned by Sean Quigley.
Are you
Yeah.
gonna try to get Circus Charlie back?
No.
Oh.
No. If Sean took it, I would go for it.
All right, what are you going for?
About a few months ago, I was playing some Raiden 2. Eric Kim had come in,
Yes.
and he took the score, and then I took it from him, and then I think he came in his next visit and beat it right away, at least from what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to put some more time into that today.
Cool.
Very cool.
It's a tough game, though. That's much harder than it's the first one.
Seems like it. I haven't messed with those games, but
Yeah.
What about at the Retrocade? What are you going after there?
I play a little bit of everything. I've been playing a lot of Bump and Jump lately. I don't know why. It's a very simplistic game.
Mhm.
I play a lot of Amadar. They've got that there. I've got the high there, but it's an addicting game. It's fun. I try not to. One of the problems I had when I first started getting the scoring is I realized I'd come to the arcade and I'd be here 3 hours, 4 hours, and I realized I played 2 games.
Yeah.
And so that's how that first operation started, where I wanted to put up a score and everything, because it was in a way forcing me to play. I was incentivizing myself to play more games. So it was like a goal to achieve. And nowadays I come in and I'll there's some games where I, even if I have the score, I'll still play them regularly. Lately I've been getting the kicks. Me and James White, we were playing together the other day, and I have the local, but I think I was playing that for half an hour on Monday when I was in. It's just a fun, quick game. I always play a game or two of Circus.
Great game.
Very simplistic game.
Yep.
I almost always play a game of Trog. That's grown on me over the course of time. So, yeah, I try to diversify the genres too. So, yeah.
Is there a game that sticks out where you just were grinding out until you got that score?
I was sitting on Sky Shark for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then so Gamer of the Year 2015 or 14, was it Fred the Heart?
Yes.
This bastard. So we also have a rivalry going, him and I probably we were going back and forth on the Sky Shark score, him and I, for a little while. Then he moved on to other games. But I put a lot of time to finally take down his score. I've probably put maybe 25 hours into that game.
Wow.
Yeah, I put a very long time into that game. And then Martin Bedard came in one.
Yeah.
And he's got the
world record, right?
He can play forever.
The universe record on that one.
Yeah.
He can play forever because the game it has endless loops.
Right.
And it gets progressively harder till the 7th loop.
Mm-hmm.
It only gets marginally harder. After this, the 1st to 2nd loop is a big jump, and then 2nd to 3rd to 4th is marginally. After the 7th loop, if you beat the 7th loop, the 8th loop goes back to the 2nd loop difficulty. So basically, if you beat the 7th loop, the game doesn't get any harder.
Okay.
Anyway, so he was playing the game, and he got like 30 million playing on his computer. And he has it.
I've seen him load up his when he's streaming, he's streaming like the 7th loop of that game, and just it looks ridiculous.
That was Twin Cobra.
Oh, that was Twin Cobra.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But Sky Shark, it doesn't get much harder, and so point being, he can play for as long as he can stay awake. Yeah.
I remember when he was here, I literally didn't even remember he was in the building anymore. It's like I haven't seen this guy in hours.
Where'd he go?
And he comes out and he's like, "There's new Sky Shark score." I'm like, "Wait, I thought you left like a while ago."
Yeah, Fred told him to go play Sky Shark.
Yeah.
And he went and told him to play 1942.
Oh my god.
And this was right after. So I don't know if Martin Bedard listens to this, but
I'm not sure.
He had come one of his. I think it was his second visit here. It was the week. I think it was the week after Sega Week or something. And I'm like, "Oh man, it would have been great if you came last week because you could have played in Sega Week."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Well, I don't think I would want to play in Sega Week." And he was like, being all cocky because I don't want to win the tournament because that's more for the locals, for the regulars.
Oh, okay.
And then he turns around and takes a game.
He already has the world record.
He puts up 3 million on Sky Shark.
Yeah.
When he could put up 40 million at home just to take the local record.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, what? So blame Fred though. Always blame Fred.
Nice. That's a good story. I like that.
Yeah. But that was probably the game I spent the most time on.
Yeah.
I think I've retired. I think that might be the only game in the arcade where I think I've retired from. I don't think I'll play Sky Shark anymore because
not even for fun. I mean, if you don't want to, just not for score. You wouldn't play for fun even.
Maybe once in a while, but I was really, really, really grinding. Even Bedard scores I think it's 3 or 4 million or whatever. You got to go through like 6 or 7 loops or whatever to get to it. And at one point I was on a mission to try to do that. And I had a game going at the Retrocade. This was over the summer where I had never beaten the 2nd loop before. I always died at the. I finally beat the 2nd loop, and then I went in and beat the 3rd loop and got to the boss of the 4th loop. It was this nice. Outrageous game. I'm like half his score. So at that point, you're playing games that are lasting an hour. You know, so it's enough is enough. The game. I'm not seeing anything in the game that I haven't seen already.
Yeah.
So it's just rinse, wash, and repeat.
Got it.
So, but usually when I get I know a lot of people they grind the game, and I'm sure you do this where you've gotten world records, and are you done with the game? If you move where you don't...
where I don't feel like I want to try to increase my score anymore. Yeah, and sometimes that'll happen where I get burnt out on it for a little bit, and I just don't want to play it for a while. I don't want to see it for a little bit, but
okay.
Yeah, that happens.
So maybe I'm just going through that phase with that game.
Yeah.
So I'm not. Yeah. Everything else in the arcade is still playable to me.
Cool.
It's awesome. Is it other topics or?
No, that's all I had. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Maybe next podcast we can get into more with the scoring and stuff. We kind of touched on getting started, but if we want to expand on that next time, we could probably do that.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I think I guess the first we're always happy to talk about Aurcade with anybody, so it can just come up and talk, but definitely something that should be covered more in future podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're in the arcade, I mean, it's pretty simple. just talk to anyone. We'll set you up with a free account. Don't try to do it at home, like Doc said. It'll mess up. Don't try to do it at home. We'll set you up here. We'll set you up. Put you in the system, and any score you want, we'll put in. Just the only ground rules are it has to be 1 credit. It has to be from the beginning of the game, and then that's pretty much it. Some games it stipulates you have to play on player 1 side. I know for Capcom games that's a big deal, but
Really?
yeah, because if you start on a player 2 side, like for Final Fight, if you try to press 2-player, it'll bring out both players, and then the first one will die off. But there's twice as many enemies, so now you have more chances to get points.
Right. Forgotten Worlds is the same
Forgotten Worlds
way.
the same way, yeah. Like the first player will get killed off immediately because there's no one controlling him, but twice as many guys come out, so now you have more points opportunities. So
definitely talk to us before you start playing a game, because there's some games there are a lot of like Forgotten Worlds is another one where there's little elements to even starting the game up, like if there's multiple credits in there.
Yeah, Life Force is the same.
And you hit start and you get extra guys and stuff.
Can't do
so
that,
so definitely check with us, and we're always happy to set up a camera if you want to record.
Literally takes 5 seconds. Any one that comes in, just ask for a camera. We've got tripods, we've got cameras, we've got 3 or 4 cameras now, and like 3 tripods. We just got new tripods, so thank you, Doc, for getting the new tripods for us.
It's a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many great gaming feats going on here. It's always great to have them documented. And
I got a suggestion. You need like helmet GoPros.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So they can walk around and just record their whole day, and if they want to submit something after the fact.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There might be
excessive, but
you get the James helmet, James GoPro helmet post track and field. I don't know. It'd be a little moist.
Oh, maybe for games that the games where you have to record it.
When in doubt, just assume you have to record it. If you're not sure, just record your run. It's just the easy way to do it.
For sure.
And that way there's proof,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I guess we'll start wrapping it up. Are you playing anything tonight?
Raiden 2?
Raiden 2?
Yeah, I'm going to go sit on Raiden 2 for an hour or so, see if I can rekindle some magic.
Awesome.
Cool.
Pete?
I don't know. Maybe another Street Fighter down that row. I said I wasn't going to.
Street Fighter.
I said I wasn't going to, but I might.
You're on your second row of Capcom fighters.
Maybe not. Maybe I'll just go right to Crime City because I've been starting to play that, and I love I like what I'm playing so far, but I just want to put more time into it, and I just haven't yet.
Yeah.
So, it's a fun game.
Cool. Well, I guess that about wraps it up. Just a reminder, this Saturday is our big Developer Day Narc event.
It's the 12th, right?
On Saturday the 12th. It's about starting at around 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. We are having a massive event. We have a lot of industry people coming out. Eugene Jarvis will be here. George Petro, Larry DeMar, Todd Allen, Warren Davis, Steve Ritchie.
Nice.
Possibly, I talked to Jeff Lee a little bit earlier today, even though he didn't work on Narc.
Since he's local, he might
He's
just want to
local.
stop by. Yeah.
Brian Cullen said he's going to try to stop out.
Cool.
Josh Shui
Nice.
will be trying to come in too. So it's going to be a really cool event. Very excited for it. We're going to be unveiling an unreleased level of Narc that has never been seen before. That had to have some new work done to it to get it playable for us. So
Cool.
super excited for that. Hopefully our Narc is running 100% that day.
Yeah, that one's always been problematic.
It has been.
Yeah.
It has been. Also huge shout outs. We were out at the NJ GamerCon this past weekend. First shout outs to Brandon and Will and Jeremiah, who came with and made the show really awesome. Huge shout outs to Jerry Over, who headed up the whole NJ GamerCon. Invited us to show off Dark Presence and had a really, really awesome time. We look forward to it. Was the first time they did the show. Very much looking forward to going to the next one. Richie Knuckles stopped out, so that was
Nice.
cool. Todd Tuckey was there.
It's going to be an annual event?
Yeah, I believe so.
Nice.
Definitely a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun. One of the funnest cons that we've been to.
Nice.
So, a lot of fun showing off Dark Presence. We had some people playing it. So, talking with our guys, we're going to be doing a Dark Presence podcast soon. So,
Cool.
keep an eye out for that. Don't miss out on this Saturday for the Narc event. Don't miss out on this Monday for
New game unveil.
New Game Unveil and tournament.
Cool.
And I'm sure we'll be doing another podcast fairly soon.
Yep.
So I guess that about wraps it up. Thanks, Mases, for being here. It's awesome having you. A lot of fun.
Anytime.
Again, winner of Atari Week and American Horror Scoring.
Back-to-back tournament.
Back to back. First to do that. Congratulations.
Waiting for the trifecta.
Well, it's coming soon.
Coming soon. Okay.
And for Gamer of the Year, Pete Hahn, thank you,
Sure.
as always.
Yep.
And this is Doc Mack for the Galloping Ghost Arcade. We hope to see you around the arcade soon. Thanks a lot, everybody.